Now let's take a look at Dynamic SQL. Now this to me is a grossly misnamed functionality. And if you've never seen this before, this will save you an entire afternoon of your life one day when you're trying to develop. Because what I want to do to show you this is let's create a stored procedure, and I want to hit you with a scenario here. Let's create a stored procedure. I want to be able to just really quickly pull all the rows in a table. So I'm going to create a stored procedure called AR as, and let's do it easy first so you can understand it. And notice I'm going to work in the pubs database. Those tables tend to be a little smaller and it'll happen faster here. But I'm going to do it the easy, lazy way so that you can understand it very simply. I want to pull all the rows from the authors table. And I will go back and create that stored procedure called AR, and I will just execute. Command completed, and so now I'll come down here and just type AR, and if I run that, that gives me all the rows in the authors table. Pretty cool, right? Well, now I've got this really brilliant idea. What if I variabilize that table, and then I can just kind of throw a table name at it and always get that. So I will come down here, create I'll just call it TB for table, give it a data type of varchar, and just change it right here to @TB. And I'll have to alter my stored procedure. And notice I'm getting a squiggly here, and it says I have to declare this. Well, I'm declaring it right here. And so I will alter the stored procedure, and it promptly throws an error. And it has a problem with my variable. Well, here's the ugly truth here, and that is if I try to variabilize any of my database objects, I'm going to have problems. And it won't work. And you can waste an afternoon trying to get around this. I guess with Google and things nowadays, you won't waste an entire afternoon, but it'll irritate you. Let's just agree on that. Let me show you the correction here, the fix for this, and it's called Dynamic SQL. Let me just warn you, if you get out there on Google, you'll, again, because we're into development and programming, you're going to find people who hate this and say, don't do it, that's a stupid way to do it, and so forth. Ignore those people. When you need to get this done, this is the way to do it. You can call execute, E-X-E-C, and in parentheses, I'm going to turn this entire command into a concatenated string. Now notice closely what I did. I did the select asterisk from as a string, and I put a space right after the from, and I'll show you why in just a second. Common error here. And then I'm concatenating the variable name to the end of that string and then executing all of it. And so I will alter that procedure. And that's a standard stored procedure. I just created a variable for the table. The main difference is this right here, this execute, this right here is considered Dynamic SQL. I told you it was misnamed. And I execute that, and it comes back. Command completed successfully. And so now I call AR, and I pass authors, and there's the authors table. So let's grab another table, discounts. So I can say discounts, execute that, and there's everything from the discounts table. Now this is a dangerous command, and I could go back in here and say select top 3 and alter that, and then go back and run this and only get the first 3 lines from every table. Let's go back and grab another one. Let's do sales, execute that one. You know, so I only get the first 3 lines. A lot of cool ways you can do this, but you just need to know that you cannot variabilize column names, table names, objects, database objects in this Transact SQL queries unless you do Dynamic SQL like this. I would encourage you to go out to Google and do some searches on SQL Server 2008 Dynamic Queries and look at some of the complaints that you'll see from people out there. They're valid complaints, but the deal is sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get what you need. And again, this is a real simple situation. Don't know how often you would use something like this, but you are going to run across situations where you want to variabilize some of these database objects. Now, there is a stored procedure out there called Stored Procedure Execute SQL that you can use that will pull this off in a little bit more efficient manner, and I'll let you just kind of go look that up and read about it. But the main thing I want to hit you with here in this video is this concept of Dynamic SQL and how you go about variabilizing database objects in your T-SQL. This can really add a lot of power to some of the things you do and help you do a lot of branching in a lot of your stored procedures and do some really, really cool things. So Dynamic SQL, that's what it is. That's how it works. Throw this into your development toolbox and pull it out when it will get you out of a tight spot.